Another great show coming your way on Philadelphia Eagles Now, but first, make sure you subscribe because Philadelphia Eagles Now will be live all next week from Glendale, Arizona for Super Bowl 57 right here on the channel. You'll be hearing from some Eagles players, hopefully some media personalities, as well as some celebrities. So lock us in and subscribe as we're on that chase for 50,000 subscribers. And with that, let's take a look at the latest going on around the Birds. All right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Hope all of you in Philadelphia are gearing up to have a fantastic weekend. We have another great show on the docket for you all today, and I do want to begin with the latest on the Eagles injury front. Great news continues to come out from the NovaCare complex in terms of Philadelphia's health heading into the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. But as far as the Chiefs go, their injury report, a little bit concerning for their football team. Stay tuned for that. So all of these players here, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Avonte, Maddox, Robert Quinn, not practicing today. But a lot of them, it's okay. This is more precautionary measures here. Dickerson continues to come off that hyperextended elbow. Lane Johnson just needs some rest for that groin. The same can be said for Cam Jurgens. We'll get to Avonte Maddox here in a second, and then Robert Quinn with that foot injury. And then a lot of players also getting rest. Keep in mind that Super Bowl Sunday is not this Sunday. It's in 2 Sundays. So really, Philadelphia coming off the NFC Championship game, looking to continue to get healthier and healthier, and in a prime spot to take on a loaded Chiefs team as they look to bring home their second Lombardi trophy. James Bradberry, A.J. Brown, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, Isaac Seumalo, Darius Slay, Josh Sweat, all limited, but all limited just because of rest, as this Eagles medical staff wants to have these players clicking on all cylinders heading into that game against Kansas City. Going back to Avonte Maddox here, you may have gotten freaked out on social media. There was a couple of pictures of him in a walking boot in the bubble, as it's a little cold in Philadelphia, so the Birds practicing indoors and really getting ready to play the Super Bowl indoors as well from Glendale, Arizona. If you're going out there, make sure you hit me up. It's going to be beautiful all throughout the week. 70s, and then at night into the 40s. But for Maddox was seen in that walking boot. This is seen by far and away as a precautionary measure to really manage that toe injury. Thought he really played well against San Francisco. Made that one big tackle for loss in the backfield on Deebo Samuel as Philadelphia locked down that dub. And then in coverage, every time I watched him, looked as though he wasn't really all that gimpy. He was moving very well. Before we get to the Chiefs injury report, and also we're going to talk about a potential Tee Higgins trade on the back half of the show. Who you got in the Super Bowl? PHI for the Birds, KC for the Kansas City Chiefs. Fly Eagles fly all day. As for the Chiefs injury report, could Mecole Hardman be out for the big game? He has not played since week 9, and this is a really valuable weapon for Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. And when KC traded away Tyreek Hill, they were banking in losing that speed element to have Mecole Hardman, who is another really good speed element. Andy Reid, known as Big Red, former coach of the Birds, saying this about Hardman: I think it'll be tough for him. I doubt he'll make the Super Bowl. He was not going to be denied the other day in the AFC Championship game, and that's a tribute to the kid. He's a tough, tough kid. So gave it a little bit of a go against Cincinnati. It doesn't look as though he's going to be able to play against Philadelphia, and basically said he is unlikely, did Andy Reid, for Hardman to play in the Super Bowl. As for Patrick Mahomes, he did injure that ankle in the divisional round against Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looked ugly in that game. Fought to come back in it. He was hobbled, but then against the Bengals in the AFC title game, I don't think Mahomes was hobbled at all. Andy Reid with an update on Patrick Mahomes. He did well in practice. He was a little bit stiff after the game. He's doing well now, and he certainly did well in that game against the Cincinati Bengals. This a further update from Pete Sweeney that Patrick Mahomes said himself he doesn't think he took any step backwards in regards to his high ankle sprain. Felt sore, as Andy Reid pointed to just moments ago, but nothing out of the ordinary. And going back to his numbers against the Bengals, 29 of 43. He outplayed Joe Burrow, who in the previous matchups had beaten Patrick Mahomes 3 times, 326 yards for Mahomes, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Yes, this Eagles defense statistically has been great this year. They haven't faced a test like Patrick Mahomes. They certainly will have their work cut out for them. If you want to slow down Patrick Mahomes, I just want you to type D for defense down in the comment section. Defense. Defense. Hopefully the Birds able to bring it in a couple of Sundays. The latest on Juju Smith-Schuster. Earlier in the week, wasn't looking all that promising for him, but Andy Reid with actually a solid update. If you're a Chiefs fan, practice once the team gets to Arizona. That's what he's going to do. They're letting his knee calm down this week. Sounds like Smith-Schuster is in a good place, pushing hard to be available. As for Kadarius Toney, he is also close, according to Andy Reid, for playing in this football game as well. So Toney banged up, Juju Smith-Schuster banged up a little bit. Two big weapons for Mahomes this year. That offense has still been stellar without the aforementioned Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce has had a terrific year, as this is going to be the Kelce Bowl. And for Mahomes, looks as though he's going to have his two weapons in Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, but probably not Mecole Hardman. Obviously, that gives the edge to Philadelphia if they don't have to worry about that speed. Let's take a look at the Super Bowl MVP odds as we continue to give you the best coverage leading up to the big game. Jalen Hurts ahead of Mahomes to win Super Bowl MVP. Hopefully that shoulder, with some more time, is going to be able to continue to ramp up and be healthy. Plus 100 for Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes at plus 135. Travis Kelce plus 1,100. A.J. Brown 16-1 odds. And Avonte Smith currently 22-1 odds. Could it be big game Smitty against the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57? I think that Avonte Smith, when you look at the Super Bowl MVP odds, is one of those sneaky players who could break out and certainly give you some good value if you were to lay some money down. We've seen Avonte Smith show up in big games before. In the 2021 National Championship game against Ohio State, after he had already won the Heisman Trophy, he went off and was terrific that night. 12 catches for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns. He really solidified himself as one of the best college wide receivers of all time. And as he's transitioned into the NFL, set records in terms of the franchise last year, overtaking Deshaun Jackson's previous number for the most catches in a season for a rookie, and this year, the most overall catches in the history of this Eagles organization, because a lot of the focus from a Chiefs defensive backfield that could be focused on the likes of A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, as well as stopping this ground game. Look for Smitty, who can line up outside, inside to go off. He is so elusive in the open field. That speed and the getaway speed is terrific. He plays bigger than his size, has terrific, reliable hands. I think that Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen should look to target him, especially draw up some concepts and routes for him to spring free in the open field. And if he has another big game like he did in the national championship, chances that Philadelphia wins this game certainly do skyrocket. If you want to bet on who wins Super Bowl MVP or who wins the ball game, make sure you do so with our sportsbook partner BetUS. Head to chatsports.com/EaglesBet, promo code Eagles125 will really take you to this promised land. You put in $100, you get $125 back. Best deal that any sportsbook has to offer. Let's round out with the latest Philadelphia Eagles news, buzz, trade rumors. Really, this also some rumors across the National Football League, and it came as a surprise to me earlier, personally, when I saw this report from The Athletic that Tee Higgins, who's been a great weapon for Joe Burrow over the last couple of years and a good sidekick and cohort to Jamar Chase, could be traded this offseason if his price tag in terms of his new contract is way too pricey and expensive to the liking of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Athletic with this on Tee Higgins, who I think has become underrated over time. Tall, lanky, long strides, can go up and get it, but has some pretty good speed as well. If the numbers are outrageous with that contract, and it's clear the two sides won't see eye to eye, the Bengals could go the route taken by multiple teams in recent seasons and deal the receiver for a top draft pick and start the cycle over with a rookie wide receiver. As for what Higgins did here in 2022, I don't think that this is just a byproduct of him playing alongside Jamar Chase. I think this is a byproduct of Tee Higgins just being a really good football player. And if he were to get traded, obviously the price tag is going to be pretty high for him. But as The Athletic did point out, there have been a couple of wide receiver trades over the last couple of years in a similar situation to the one that we are now seeing with Tee Higgins potentially. And we saw it last year with A.J. Brown. As always, when it comes to being aggressive and making moves to improve the roster, Howie Roseman is always in the running, and you can never sleep on him making some crazy deal. But I do not think that a trade for Tee Higgins is going to happen. As for the trades that have happened in previous seasons, Stephon Diggs was unhappy with his contract situation. He got dealt. A.J. Brown got traded from Tennessee to Philadelphia. It's reaped massive dividends. Davante Adams got traded last offseason, as well as Tyreek Hill, and Deebo Samuel did want to get traded, according to reports out there, ended up signing that extension with San Francisco. Another reason why I don't think the Eagles are going to make this trade, because you have Devontae Smith still on that rookie deal, but he's going to be due for a big payday considering his production in his first 2 years in the NFL. You're paying big money already to A.J. Brown, who's making in the neighborhood of $20 million per year. You do have Quez Watkins on that deal, which is pretty solid in terms of team value. Dallas Goedert, you're paying him top 5 tight end money. So you really do have to figure out where you want to allocate your financial resources. Philadelphia spending a lot of money along the offensive line. They probably want to re-sign Isaac Seumalo. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you know, there's so many players who are up for new contracts. Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, TJ Edwards, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Is Jason Kelce going to want to come back as well? Eagles receiving production this past year, I should say, fantastic. And I expect it to only get better, especially if Jalen Hurts continues to make strides, as long as that shoulder injury is okay. And can you imagine if Shane Steichen comes back with this offense, he continues to call the plays with these weapons at his disposal. Before we hop on out of here, another one of our poll questions here. We always love hearing from the Bird Gang, so get that comment section popping and share your thoughts. This is what this show is all about. You, the subscriber. You, the fan. You, the homie. Should the Eagles trade for Tee Higgins? T for trade, P for pass. Let us know down below, and make sure you subscribe because our Super Bowl coverage is going to be awesome next week.